This is the heaviest podcast. Let's fucking go!
Yo, what the fuck is up? It's the Heavyist podcast, weekly worship at the altar of motherfucking radness. It's a great time to be a Heavyist. There's beautiful riffs. There's riffs. Dude, there's an abundance of riffs. There's too many riffs.
Riffs, man.
It's a fucking great time to be alive, Gary. Imagine if you didn't like riffs. How much you'd be missing out on.
Oh, I feel sorry for
ridiculous.
you. I feel so sorry for you if you don't like riffs.
Bloody sorry for you.
Your life must be essentially pointless.
If you were just into like the recorder or something, you'd be such a mug. Like,
just imagine people who just bear into the recorder. That's just their thing. I just fucking love
people
it.
just bang into it. Like.
What an existence that would be. Oh my God.
I pity them. They'll never know. They'll never know the beauty of the new Necrot album. But before we get there, Gary, how's your life been? What's going on? What's happening in Garytown? What have you been up to?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm pre-holiday and I'm feeling good. You know, I'm in that basically already there in my mind as it as it tends to be. Yeah, I'm excited. Nervous a little bit. I don't cope too well in other countries initially. Like it takes me a little while to get comfortable. I don't know. I'm just awkward and weird, and so when I go somewhere where the language barrier is there and stuff, I get a bit. But I'm sure I'll be fine.
Is it mostly the language barrier? It's not you like, oh my God, they haven't got Yorkshire tea bags here.
No, I can cope with stuff like that. I'll be fine. That's not what I worry about. I just, it's just sometimes I find it difficult, especially when, you need somewhere where you need accessibility and stuff. It can be difficult and a bit stressful.
Yeah.
Not being able to like communicate with people easily, but I'm sure it'll be fine. As always tends to be the case when you go to another country, they're 1,000 times better at English than we are at any other language in England.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm sure I'll cope. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. You? How's things, dude? How are you? How's life?
Good, mate. Yeah, just on some, real tough guy shit. I bought a butter dish the other day from La Crusette.
Oh shit! Watch out!
Just on that tough guy shit.
Watch out! We got a hard man in our midst.
I've been making things out of clay. Just real tough guy shit.
Oh, hard man business.
Yeah, it's just been nice. It's been lovely. Just been enjoying the turbulent weather in England. Like the sort of fleeting moments of sunshine have been quite nice. I managed to drink some beer in the sun over the Good Friday period, which was very nice.
Chug it.
I had to get two, and then
the
run. I had to run to a bus shelter.
Legged it back inside, having downed to you strawpedoed.
I strawpedoed it. Yeah. I strawpedoed a couple of WKDs and then just fucking went and looked at the ocean for a couple of minutes.
Oh, respect. Mate, you know what we did do, which we haven't. We went and looked at some riffs, didn't we?
We looked at some riffs.
The boys looked at some riffs. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
And weren't they some absolutely splendid riffs that we looked at too?
Some lovely riffs and some lovely lads. We went to the old Brighton, me and Gary. We travelled there. It took us. Didn't even take very long in the car, Gary. I'll be honest.
Wasn't even that long.
No traffic. I mean, I know that's of no consequence to any listener, but sometimes that can really mar a situation.
That's a really important part of the review of the live show we went to.
Especially if you like to
on the way there. So.
Especially if you like to drink in the car as much as I do, it can be quite a nightmare if you do have to do a huge piss in Gary's car.
Your sippy cup of red wine that you were drinking on the way down.
I decanted a bottle of red wine into this funny little watermelon cup, and I was just sipping it.
It was
like a very refined gentleman, weren't I?
It was
really
fantastic. Good. I loved it. I had a lot of time for it. We popped down to the Green Door store to go see the big tour in the Heavyist calendar, Mastiff and Yersin. We, as a result of living an hour and a half away from Brighton, we didn't see any of the local openers, but we did get there to see Yersin, didn't we? And whoo, mama, that band can make some fucking noise, can't they? Oh,
damn,
shit.
Dude. At no point in us covering this band did we realise that it was only 3 people?
I did. I did.
Oh, did you?
At no point did you realise there were only 3 people. I was very well aware because I looked at a picture of them.
I just assumed like one of them called in sick or something. There was just no possible way that such mighty racket could erupt from 3 individuals. But Mate, it did, Gary. It did.
It bloody did. It bloody did. They were. It's that fucking enormous, like 8-string flying V guitar that he's playing, and he's like running out of
and the spiky knee combo,
and he's got these enormous like spiky shin pads on the go, and I think he's running out of 3 different guitar amps at the same time. At least that's what it looked like from the staging. It was an absolutely ungodly racket, and it was fucking brilliant. They were absolutely fantastic. Banging. They did. Obviously, they're from Sunderland, I believe. So they're used to people being a bit more enthusiastic in live settings. Unfortunately, you come to Brighton or anywhere on the south coast, we say it quite regularly. People do have a horrible habit of standing and folding their arms and looking unimpressed. It doesn't mean we didn't enjoy ourselves as was made.
I quite like to stand there and click. I'd like to do this. That's my
yeah, kind of a scat sometimes. Just the music just takes me and I just go into scat jazz. But no, like just you wanted. It's one of those weird situations where like I really want everyone to get into it, but I'm too old to be the one who starts the mosh pit. So it's a bit of a catch-22.
Not a great starter of mosh, either of us. But that doesn't mean that we didn't thoroughly enjoy bathing in the riffs.
They were sick.
They were fantastic.
They were so gnarly, and like the vocalist had these little like set piece little moves that he did. Like at one point there was like a build up to a moment, and he threw like an imaginary ball in the air, and then like hit it for a home run with his microphone before it came back in, which I thought was an absolutely wicked move. I loved that. That was fucking cool. Yeah, the tracks off their new record sounded absolutely incredible. You bought a shirt and left it in my car.
Yeah, really good shirt.
I've got it right here for you.
Great shirt.
Look at that, mate.
Can't wait to wear that.
That's a beaut, that is. Absolute beaut. Can't wait for you to wear that in a month's time when I next see you and you can have it.
It'll be like a new little surprise treat, actually.
Yeah, you'll have forgotten.
It'll be like, it's my birthday. Yeah. You might be able to get away with giving that to me for my birthday.
You'll have forgotten. If I just hang on to it until then, I'll give it to you for your birthday. You're like, oh, dude, thank you.
Mate, you're the best, Gary. I can't believe I didn't buy it for myself.
Yeah. And then the main event, Mastiff. They were fucking incredible. Like,
they're on fire.
I know, we love them. We love the boys. We love Jim. We've had him on the show plenty of times. I would genuinely consider him a friend. He's not just someone that I know from chatting on the podcast or whatever. Like, I would actually say he's a friend of mine, and he's a lovely bloke. But like, they've leveled up hard, right? They've leveled up fucking hard. Even since we saw him,
sounded so big.
Was it like tail end of last year when we saw him at the Burner album launch show? Like, they've just, I don't know, you can just feel that the level of confidence in themselves off the back of the precipice has elevated. You can just sense it from them. Like, obviously they have quite a sort of self-deprecating style. Jim's, cracking silly jokes and just generally being Jim on stage, but you can just feel that extra vibe of, we just released an absolute world beater of a hardcore record, and everyone in this room knows it right now. Like, you could feel it, and they were fucking killing it, mate. They were incredible, right?
Yeah, man. The crowd really, really, really got on board. Like, it was fantastic. It was a really, really brilliant show. They sounded fucking massive. I stupidly forgot to bring the ear, like, defender things or whatever they're called.
your earplugs.
My loop earplugs.
You bought these. How long have you owned these loop earplugs, and have you actually worn them to a show yet?
I did wear them to one show. I went to watch our friends play at the Wine Vaults. That was I went to see that.
You actually took them there, did you?
I did actually take them, and it was really good. But yeah, I forgot to take them. And the next day, fuck me, was my ear holes ringing.
we were stood right next to the PA as well. Yeah. That didn't help, but it was a great spot.
Yeah, I had physically looked at riffs too much. I was being told that I'd looked at too many riffs by my own body, but it was great. It was fucking fantastic. Yeah, it was great to see Jim, and obviously Dan as well, that we did the podcast with recently. I had a nice little chat with him. It was fantastic, mate. Yeah, it was. They were just brilliant, and I just loved the way, like I was saying with like South Coast shows, everyone has the old Jamie Jaster impress me bro, and it's impossible to give impress me bro vibes to Jim. He just disarms an audience with his drinking his drink of like half Guinness, half WKD blue or whatever it was, and wearing a Taylor Swift t-shirt, and singling people out in the audience and just messing with them, and it's just impossible to not get swept away in the kind of good time vibes in like the horriblest music you've ever heard. Like their personalities versus the music they make is such a juxtaposition, but it makes for a really fun, really great live show. And like the tour's over now, I think, but I'm sure, the Discord, everyone's been announcing, I'm going to Mastiff tonight, or I went last night. Like everyone's been involved in it, and it's been awesome. I hope it went down with the band as well as it did with everyone who went. It was fucking sick, mate. Absolutely sick. Also, fantastic. I love the Green Door Store. Don't you love the Green Door Store? I do really like it.
I really like that venue. It's no airs or graces. There's not even a fucking floor. You're literally like on the
cobblestones.
But it sounds incredible, and the staff who work there are really nice. The beers are really tasty and not too expensive. Like, it's a great venue. More bands come through to the Green Door Store, please. Great time.
Yeah, loved it.
Mate, we got a stacked show this week. We got a stacked show, haven't we? Because obviously I'm going away for 2 weeks. There's stuff that comes out while I'm away that I just couldn't possibly not be part of the conversation in, because I would probably cry. And the first one on that list, I'm just doing it. We're talking about Greyhaven, dude, because you know how much I adore that band. You're there with me. It gives me absolutely fucking ecstatic pleasure to say we're going to talk about their new EP, Stereo Grief, which is coming out on the 12th of April through Solid State Records, which is their new home. I think the EP is kind of designed to celebrate the fact that they've signed to Solid State, which is very fucking cool. I'll always have a soft spot for that label, just for the whole kind of early to mid 2000 and like 2010ish kind of period. Under Oath, He Is Legend, Norma Jean, all the sort of Christcore bands that are all releasing records through Solid State, that and like Tooth and Nail are always going to be labels that have like a soft spot in my heart. And I think it's a perfect place for Greyhaven to live, because
absolutely,
they're kind of they kind of live in that. They've kind of got one foot in that era of music, which is like the most seminal and important era of music to me. And then one foot in this kind of the future almost. And I think it's a great home for that band.
Absolutely, mate. There's so many, like, Solid State is just absolutely teeming with just things that I adored from back in the day, like Agony Scene, early like August Burns Red, Devil Wears Prada before it all went tits up. So much cool shit. Showbreed were on that label.
Showbreed were so good. The guitar player. More guitars. Sick. More guitars in metal, please. Come on.
Oh, Sleeper were on there for a bit. Dude. Fucking As Cities Burn.
Read this Wikipedia page all day.
It's very, very cool.
As Cities Burn. What an album. Yes. Sorry. Let's get back on point.
Yeah. So I think it's very, very cool that that's the label they're going with. And I wonder sort of if that was something you don't really hear many bands signing to them these days. So it's interesting. I would like to sort of understand how that happened. It's very, very cool. It's cool.
It is definitely cool. But
yes,
focusing in on the band, like if you've listened to this podcast for a little while, you'll know I fucking adore this band. Maybe you're a newcomer, maybe you're one of the many new faces as a result of us moving to the video format. And I just want to highlight Greyhaven. That face you pulled. I'm trying to do a serious bit, Sonny. Stop it. This band, like, they were, you know, their last album was my favorite album of 2022. The album before that was my favorite album of 2018. Like, they're just fucking fantastic. Like, me and Sonny collectively, our favorite bands in history have been Every Time I Die and He Is Legend. And it kind of, Greyhaven felt like, when they first came on the scene, like, oh, these guys just absolutely love Every Time I Die and He Is Legend. But like, as they've progressed, that's kind of become less obvious, but it's always there. It's always part of the DNA of what the band do, but it's less like, oh, well, that bit, that's from that Every Time I Die song, that bit, that's from that He Is Legend song. And it's now just kind of part of their makeup as songwriters, but they have more and more of their own unique flavor and style that they bring to what they're doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you know, there's so much here that's really comforting. There's, you know, in the wake of in an Every Time I Die-less existence, you know, the torch, like, where, you know, the crown, on whom's head will it fall?
Where doth it lie?
Where doth the cap lay? And, you know, it's right on fucking Greyhaven's bonce, isn't it? This thing makes me so happy to listen to.
Oh, it's so fucking good. I honestly, this afternoon, listened to it 5 times on the bounce. I just couldn't stop letting it just go again and again. Like, they've gone back to Will Putney. I mean, they've recorded everything so far with Will Putney, and I really hope they continue that relationship.
Which is not.
It works perfectly. It works absolutely perfectly. And it's weird, like, I mean, Better Lovers just to put out a new song, right? And I'll be honest, I bounced straight off of it. I didn't really think there was a lot to it. I was a bit disappointed. And I'm so glad that it doesn't matter because we've got Greyhaven, and so we don't need a substitute for that band to come into our lives, because they've been around a long time already, and this EP just further solidifies how fucking brilliant this band are. Like, if you read through the sort of press release that they gave around it, they're kind of putting this out there. This is the best material that they've ever written. And sometimes you might worry when you see an EP and a band who, you know, don't generally rock EPs, they're more album bands, like, or maybe it might be a bit, you know, maybe something that they've just kind of chucked together or it's a bit half-baked or something, but absolutely not. This is some of their strongest. Is their strongest material so far to date on this EP, right? It's incredible.
It's fantastic, and I tell you what I love is that there's just this real melodic focus on the record.
Yeah.
Just this focus on it that, like, you've got to, when you're somebody as talented as the vocalist Brent, like, if you're that good, then this is the music you should be writing. It's like, it moves into, like, you know, it moves into territories like on melodies that I get, like, sort of like Emma Rosary kind of things. Like, they do things like with melodies that are just so far above what like most bands can write, and they still manage to be really, like, it's, you know, it's still every bit as jagged and turbulent, the music, and there's still a big fucking breakdown when you want it, but, like, in terms of, like, a vocal performance, in terms of, like, sung moments on the record, like, this is just absolutely better than anything any other band is doing. Like, I don't think that's an incorrect statement, is it?
No, honestly, I couldn't really agree more with you. Like, this is the pinnacle, really. Like, yeah, especially melodically, when you're talking about Brent Mills, like, that guy, he just has the special sauce, doesn't he? He's that, like, perfect amount of, like, self-reflective but also, like, dramatic, that creates these incredible soaring melodies, but then he doesn't always have to soar. He can do, you know, like, if you look at, like, Confined Collapse on this record, there's, like, the chorus to that song has a bit more of a kind of grungy, lackadaisical kind of approach or affectation to the way that he sings that. but it's just every bit as catchy and hooky and as exciting as the other four tracks. Like, there's nothing about it that you kind of go, oh well, this one might be a bit of a dud. This one, it fucking slaps. It's just he doesn't have to like really like push and go for the biggest notes that he's got in his range. He can do all of these different things and make them all exciting, and and then all the while there's like these really sort of mathy noodly guitar parts, and he sings over them, and he's not scared to just go, well, I'll sing in the choruses, and in the verses I do the screaming, because that's the rules, right? That's how the genre works. No, he's not scared. He's not stuck in that box. He's going to do what he wants, and he's going to do and there'll be those weird moments. There's a couple of weird moments on a couple of the tracks where it'll like the music, the instrumentation will go really high, and it'll be like, and he'll just do something really like out of left field across it, and you're like, how did he come up with that idea? Like, what is this guy eating? Like, he's just finding these crazy pockets of songs to create these incredible hooks that nobody else would ever think of. No one else would ever come up with that idea in that moment. And he's a rock star. He's a fucking rock star.
He's a fucking rock star. Every time you get to a new hook on the record, you're like, wow. Yeah. Like, this could, like, you like didn't think the record could get better. Like, you get down to like Sick and Lavish, you're like, well, there's no chance it's going to be better than what I've already heard. And then you go, fucking hell. This is crazy. It comes out as absolutely fucked. Like,
yeah.
I love how catchy this band is. I love how they still maintain like this, that sort of like really erratic, mathy business going on. Like, they literally are playing fucking bingo, and they're winning, brother. They're down the bingo hall, and they're absolutely smashing it.
They're on a fucking hot streak, and long may it fucking continue, man. Like, this EP, incredible. I think the Welcome Party might be Greyhaven's best song to date. Like, I think that song is incredible. That melody on the chorus is fucking awesome. Love it. Like, yeah, the riff on Confined Collapse, that opening riff, where it's really got a bit more chunk to it, and there's quite a lot of like a post-hardcore, almost swancore kind of vibe to some of the guitar riffing that goes on in this EP.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's just those couple of moments where they just kind of go down and just do something more straight up, and it just really punches. And it makes them punch more because it's inside these much more kind of angular and jagged like song structures. And yeah, it's just fucking incredible, man. Like, it's me to release rules. The EP of the year in April. What about everybody else? What are they going to do?
It's mean.
That and like that Kaunashi so far this year, releasing two of the absolute best EPs I've ever heard. That wasn't on my bingo card for 2024, but I'm fucking here for it. Absolutely here for it. Yeah, this is wonderful. It doesn't come out, if you're listening to the show day it comes out, it doesn't come out till next week, but I couldn't miss an opportunity. Stereo Growth by Greyhaven, fucking amazing, man. Fucking amazing. From one amazing podcast favorite to another, slightly different vibe maybe, but
let's go. Let's fucking go.
This is something me and you have been absolutely clucking to talk about for ages. And then I messaged you and I said, dude, this album comes up while I'm on a holiday. What am I going to do? I almost cried. I was gutted. But I'm glad that we're going to do it early, and I'm fucking glad that we get to. Replicant, they're 3-piece technical, 4-piece. I think the drummer, I don't know if the drummer is actually officially a member of the band, but they're a progressive technical death. They do so much that it's hard to say what their genre is, but they're from New Jersey. Their new album's called Infinite Mortality, and it comes out on the 12th of April through Transcending Obscurity. So I feel like Replicant was one of those moments like we had maybe earlier on in the year with Underneath, where we discovered a record, we talk about it with our community, and everybody just falls in love with it, and it just feels like you just feel so. The time and effort that we put into making this podcast was worth it, because we've managed to spread how incredible Replicant are to a whole collection of people who would maybe never have heard of them if we hadn't have mentioned it, and it felt really awesome to be a part of that. But the credit has to go to Replicant, because Malignant Reality from 2021 was absolutely fucking incredible. One of the coolest bands we've stumbled across in the time that we've made this podcast, right?
Yeah, it was superb. Like when the Replicant album, like Malignant Reality, when it came in initially, like we weren't, I think I was working a job that specifically, like I literally, like the company was shutting down, so I didn't really care. So I wasn't really doing any work there. I was like in this thing where I just sort of went there for a bit and didn't really have to do anything. So I was just listening to the absolute fuck out of this record at my job, and we were just fawning over it. We got it, and it was so obtuse and so brilliant, but so hard and so weird all at once. And then we went back. We were like, oh my god, they've got a previous record, and we were both sort of listening to the previous record like with each other, like going, oh my god, this song, oh my god, this song. And we were just like, it was just this really cool little like 2-man hype machine that we had. We were just going, oh my god, this band Replicant. So, fast forward to they announced the new album last year, so we've had this in our ear rolls for a little while, and it's finally going to be unleashed. And man, this is such a fucking sick record. I know we say that about everything we cover.
Yeah, we only talk
we
about
don't cover
sick
things.
Records.
We only there's so many fucking records that come out every week. We have to just pick the bestest, our favorite fucking thing.
Yeah.
And Infinite Mortality. Fuck me, this record goes, dude. I've been enjoying it so much.
It's absolutely fucking awesome. I took Nelson out for a walk at the weekend, and I was listening to this album while I was up on Botzer Hill, and it was a nice day. I felt like the absolute king of the world, and then in my mind, I said to myself, this is basically Blood Incantation meets Ion Dissonance, and I felt like I just spent the rest of the day just feeling really proud of myself for making that comparison and building that combination of bands. And I think like what feels to me with Infinite Mortality is it's not. I wrote in my notes Infinite Morality so many times that I've kind of confused myself as to what the album's at. I think it's it's definitely Mortality, Infinite Mortality. But like this, I feel like for a long time Replicant's kind of goal was to just kind of, by spanning so many different genres, potentially piss off everybody who's a fan of the different parts of what makes up their band. You know what I mean? Like, there'd be people who want like big hardcore breakdowns who couldn't cope with the weird vocal style. There'd be people who want the like more spacious, like crazy black metal stuff to be like, why is there breakdowns in this music? But what it feels like to me, listening to this new record, is that actually they've managed to flip that on its head, and they've created something that I think is going to open a world of weirder music to people who aren't quite as like au fait with it. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely,
so kind of bringing that sort of gore gutsy style of like technical death metal to people who might come out and more from like a riffy like world, or people who are more into techie stuff or like deathcore, for example. Like, I kind of feel like what Replicant are going to do off the back of this record is going to kind of do to the dissonant death metal scene what like Undeath and Frozen Soul have kind of done to that caveman old school death metal scene, where they've brought in people like me who weren't like dyed in the wool death metal fans, but I've discovered Undeath and it's brought me in, and now I'll listen to any stinky bog monster nonsense you put under my nose. And I feel like what's going to happen is people are going to come to Replicant for the hard riffs, and then they're going to slowly be like won over by the weirdness and the obtuse and the dissonance and these things that bands who play deathcore would never fuck with. They'd always it's too off the wall. Like, deathcore is very like the lanes, the rules are really specific, and it feels like Replicant are going to open the door to this whole like more like, how many bands can you think of off the top of your head right now who could be on an Impericon Never Say Die tour and play Roadburn? How many bands can you think of that can make that work? Literally, Replicant are the only one that I can think of right now.
Yeah, I'm wanting to say Resin Tomb is the only real band that shares such a DNA with with Replicant, but even Resin Tomb, that wouldn't necessarily click onto a Roadburn. I think the weirdness and the sort of like avant-garde like angle that sort of is represented inside the Replicant is just above what is sort of apparent in the Resin Tomb record. Like the perfect marriage of being so brilliantly wonky, but then having so much like commitment to just fucking constructing the coolest death metal breakdowns going. Like
absolute arse beaters.
The fucking death metal breakdowns in this record are just phenomenal, man. This whole thing, like, one of the things I like about it the most is that it feels like a band just like jamming out. It feels like a powerful cathartic release for a lot of it. It doesn't feel like constructed like moments of, it doesn't feel like a, you know, like this like sort of very sort of linear song, like the way that you would listen to, sort of the way that you would consume most things. It's very much this huge sort of like jam vibe, and it's fucking fantastic. It's such a brilliant sort of nightmarish landscape to be in.
Yeah, there's no writing for an end goal, is there? Like, it's not like, right, well, we want to start and we want to end here. It feels like they go, well, we want to start here. Let's go, boys. Where are we going to end up? Like, it's like everywhere. A magical mystery tour, and that they don't even know. They're just going to do what feels right as it happens, and then where they end up, they could end up fuck knows where, but they're going to have had an incredible, you know, it's the friends that we made along the way. Like, it's just going to feel, and every one of their songs feels so like undulate, and it just does these things that you were kind of not ready for, but also you were born ready for, or you didn't even know it. You know what I mean? Like, there's just something about their like freeform approach, but also on this record, it feels like they've tightened that up considerably from Malignant Reality, where now there's much more of a focus on those ass beating riffs, and it feels like they're more commonplace. Like, a song will have like 3 or 4 fucking sick, badass, like chunky riffs, but then it'll also have some really weird proggy bit in the middle where the guy's yelping like he's being strangled at the same time. Like, they're just not afraid of anything. That's how it feels to me when when they're putting stuff to, when you listen to this band, it just feels like Replicant will just try absolutely anything. They're not scared of it, and I've got to fucking give them massive big ups for it. It's fucking sick.
Yeah, they're a band that's like as prone to like going to space for like a minute as they are to like absolutely smashing you to death with a breakdown. It's so cool, man. Like the track like Orgasm of Bereavement, like it's so, even that track title is like so brilliantly sort of challenging and thought-provoking that it sort of perfectly represents the inherent sort of obtuse nature of Replicant. Like it's that kind of is if you had to describe a band as an orgasm of bereavement, like that's basically that's a perfect tagline for what the band is. It's fantastic. Like
so true.
And I love that track. I love like the back end where it goes into these really low, nasty, horrible vocals that sound like a fucking mic grab moment from like Cthulhu. Like it's like guest feature is Cthulhu on that track. It's so cool, man. Like I say, it's like this whole sort of like jamming out, like a powerful sort of cathartic release that's got this. They just have their own brilliant, unique energy that's so sort of bestial and furious and rampant, and it's just exciting. It's the kind of music that challenges you, but it also has these familiar footholds that you can grab onto. That's fantastic. That's having your cake and eating it, which Absolutely, is like, man. It's just seldom seen, this fucking brilliance.
I liken it to, right, my brother-in-law hates onions, right? But you put onions in everything because they taste amazing. They make everything taste better. So what his mum does, he's a 35-year-old man, I just like to point this out. What his mum does is she blends onions and puts them in the food so he doesn't know that they're there. And that's kind of what, like, I think Replicant are kind of Trojan horsing weird, wonky, dissonant music into like big, badass riffery, the same way that my mother-in-law puts the onions in the spag bowl so that Dan doesn't get upset. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think what they're doing is absolutely incredible. And I really, really hope that it touches as many people as it should. Like, I really hope it finds its way into those scenes outside of like the weirdo scenes that we love, and in some stuff that's a bit more, slightly more on the mainstream end of metal, because like they deserve all of it. Like I don't want to get, I've written loads of notes on songs, but I don't want to get too far into like songs just because people aren't going to hear it for another week, and I don't want to spoil too much of how fucking brilliant it is to people. But like Necrot Tunnel
is a beast.
Necrot Tunnel is an absolute fucking monster. Like that track is incredible. There's that bit, you know, the bit when like the guitar is kind of doing this sort of noodly bit, and there's that bass tone that sounds like it's like dropped an octave, and he's like, yeah, that's the bit. But the bass is so low and rumbly underneath it. Like it must be like pitch dropped by an octave underneath. It's like barely audible, but it sounds fucking incredible. Like Necrot Tunnel is one of the best songs of the year for me, mate. I think that song's fucking wicked.
Yeah, it's the bollocks. Like I think one of the best things about Replicant as well is like the way that they sort of tether these different ideas. Like they know how to make a transition, and it's always exciting. It's like it just feels so brilliant and natural when you've got these really two sort of obtuse ideas that you sort of maneuver between. But the way that they do it is fantastic. It's what keeps you just going, like just keeps you constant riff facing. Like you're just endless riff face. Like you can only get, you can only do so much riff face, but they're really pushing
so much riff that I can do on my face, but this record definitely tests the limits of where the end of my riff face is, man, for sure. This is absolutely brilliant. And if you live on mainland Europe, then potentially they might be coming through your town in the not too distant future. They're out on tour at the moment with Anachronism, who are another band we talked about before. It doesn't come to the UK, which I'm fucking bummed about. Like I kept seeing it because that would be incredible.
Yeah, when they announced it, I was like, "Oh, mate, come on, announce the UK date, come on."
Unfortunately, it's not.
I might have to go to Poland.
Yeah, we might just have to get on a plane, mate. Just pop over there.
I'm going to Romania in May. Is it in May?
That'd be handy, wouldn't it? Imagine if that lined up.
Imagine.
God, that'd be destiny. That would be absolute destiny.
Imagine.
That'd be fucking amazing. But yeah, everyone has got to listen to this album.
Oh, it's April.
Damn it, fucking amazing. It's called Infinite Mortality, and it's by the band Replicant. It comes out on the 12th. You need to fucking listen to it.
Do it.
It's sick. God, the hits keep coming and the hits keep coming, son. We're going to talk about Alpha Wolf now. I've decided. 5-piece metalcore band from Melbourne, Australia. This new album is called Half Living Things. It's released on Friday the 5th of April through Sharp Tone Records. Again, it's no secret that I absolutely fucking love this band. I mean, we're talking about Greyhaven earlier. Now we're talking about Alpha Wolf, a band. Their album was my second favourite album underneath Code Orange in 2010, A Quiet Place to Die. I fucking adored that record. Absolutely adored it.
That was big on the Gary calendar.
It was very big. I put a lot of hours into making sure that I got a promo copy of it in advance so that we could talk about it on the show. A lot of hours. I'm not even joking. I was definite hours went into making sure that happened. A lot of emails to weird people thinking I was weird. But anyway, like I've really been like excited and getting really pumped up about the idea of a follow-up from Alpha Wolf. And then like, I mean, I'll be absolutely honest. When I first heard Bring Back the Noise, which I think was the first single that they released, I was a bit trepidatious around like their new album because, they've got this absolutely incredible blend of visceral like aggression, and like their lyrics were very emotionally devastating as well. Like a lot of the themes around A Quiet Place to Die were hit really hard, and it just made a really special record that just kind of blended these completely kind of opposite worlds of the savage breakdown laden metalcore with these really emotional, like hard cutting lyrics. And then when Bring Back the Noise came out, I was a bit like, oh no, they might have like, I think they may have like dumbed down a little bit lyrically and gone a bit more like straight up and kind of moved to almost like a more hip hop territory of like kind of just bragging and just being a bit more like fuck you all, I'm the sickest kind of thing. And so that did make me a little bit nervous coming into listening to this new record. And to be honest, like, I was right. A lot of this record is much more on that kind of level of, you know, rather than really opening up about personal trauma and all that kind of stuff, which went on A Quiet Place to Die. I guess maybe as a result of making that record, they exercised those demons, and now they're just all about having a fucking fun time. Once I started like living with the album for a bit, any of that worry that I had just kind of went out the window, because this album is such a fucking massive pile of just fun and nonsense. I absolutely fucking love it. Like, yeah. I've had to reference a Muir way too many times in the last like few weeks talking on the show.
That's the first thing I wrote. Right? I wrote the Sons of Muir. That's like the first thing I wrote down.
Absolutely, man. This is just coming from that. Like, no one's listening to Muir because of Frankie Palmieri's like social commentary on the world, is it? Like, he generally is a bit of an idiot, but when the riff goes bam 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 bam, everyone goes bam 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 with it. You can't help it. It's just lizard brain shit, isn't it? It just immediately just hits that part of your brain that goes, oh, I like it when riffs go boom 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 boom. It's just incredible, and I just absolutely adore it. And this record has gone. Just keeps climbing in my estimations. The more I listen to it, the more I think like this album's absolutely fucking brilliant and so much fun and such a great time. I mean, it's not like it's completely disposable and throwaway. Like, there are some moments where, you know, you get a bit more of a personal touch, but for the most part, it's just fun times, isn't it? It's just bouncy riffs and fun times.
Loads of great fucking bouncy riffs, mate. Like, it's a really just, it's a nu metal extravaganza.
Yeah, it's very, very nu metal. There's a lot of nu metal.
So much nu metal in it, and that's not a bad thing. Like, that is, yeah, like, they just construct music that makes you want to bang your fucking head to. Like, it's so bouncy, mate. I'm thinking I might need some fucking Air Maxes or something to really support my ankles.
You need to invest in a trampoline to stand on in front of your computer screen, mate. Yeah. No, I just think, like, you're right. I think they, off the back of the last record, they did a lot of touring. They went to a lot of places. They saw the world, and they, from going to see him myself and, you know, seeing the videos that they post on their social media and stuff, people go fucking nuts for them. And it makes perfect sense for them to like build an album around making sure that everyone in a live environment just has a fucking great time. And like, that's obviously the main goal that has been set out when they started putting this album together, is like, this is just going to be a party. This is going to be a party that everyone is invited to. When we come to your town, the Alpha Wolf party don't stop. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just fucking sick. And like, Lucky on vocals is on absolutely top form. Like, he's, I don't know, like, it seems a bit, he kind of joined the band in quite inauspicious circumstances, and I don't know if maybe it's taken him a little while to sort of get comfortable and like really grow into his position as the front man of Alpha Wolf. It kind of felt like, you know, you kind of see Alpha Wolf and you sort of imagine Sabian, because he's got a very distinct look with the face mask and the fucking big bleached blonde hair and all that. But now it feels like Lockie is like this ringmaster of the circus that is Alpha Wolf. And he's just like, some of the things that he brings out on this record, like the bit in, I think the song is called, I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Mankey? Where he said, "Stay close to your silver bullet, sweetheart. Let's show these bloodsuckers some sunshine." Like, that is just so fucking good. It's almost like vaudevillian acting or something, the way that he delivers it. It's fucking brilliant. And it's like, what's it, Haunter, there's that lyric, in one ear and out the fucking hole in my head. Like, I love that. I love that lyric. That's really fucking cool. Or even when he's just using "Where My Dog's At" as a mosh call, bring back the noise. It's just so fucking great. It just puts, I mean, just thinking about what it sounds like is putting a big smile on my face and making me really happy. Like, it's just fucking wicked. I have a great time with this record.
Yeah, man, I've had a really good time listening to it. Like, it's not often that I listen to a lot of these sort of like more like nu metal focused.
No, this is way more my thing than yours, isn't it? Yeah,
bouncy riffy boys, and this was a real treat. This is like, I think this is in that sort of sphere. It's up there with like, you got to put them like next to your orthodoxes. Like this is just brilliant new metal worship that you got to appreciate. I think it's done really well, and I think it also doesn't necessarily like step into a lot of tropes of like modern records where it's like, oh, we're going to have like a really soft song here and we're going to have this bit here, and like there was a lot of that for a bit, right? And a lot of the sort of modern sort of metalcore records that we were listening to, they got a little bit, you're like, oh well, that's that track, and then
they all
have
one
like,
structure.
oh, they'll have like a hip hop track or something like that, or this sort of stuff. But this is very much just ingrained into the whole DNA of the record, which is really cool. And it's kind of like similar to what I like about like the Boundaries record, where they've taken their DNA and they've really sort of like honed it in now, and it's like, this is them, and it's not just them doing a parody. It's like it's included into sort of every aspect of every track, and it's fucking cool, man.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. I know you're saying about they do with the track Whenever You're Ready, but that's not like, that's the ballady song in inverted commas, but it's not, is it? It's got that really, like, I love that chorus, like, it's the sort of, you remember you remember Bleed For You from A Quiet Place to Die? It had the lyric of the chorus is, I'll call you when I'm ready for you to find me. And then this song is called, I can't take credit for this, by the way, I read this in the YouTube comments, but this song's called Whenever You're Ready. And it's almost like the other perspective from that song on that record. Like, it's really cool the way that they kind of, they've looked, and it's like, you can break down if you want to, we can go inside if you need to. Like, it's just that, like, it's, no pressure, just be comfortable, feel good, and wait till you feel happy. Like, it's this really nice, refreshing approach to writing a song like that, that's a bit more hooky and not a ballad, but has a bit more of that kind of North Laney kind of melodic attack to it. Like, nice. They just do cool shit. It's a terrible day for rain. It's got badass Tony Danza guitarist, that sort
there
of like
is
rig.
A lot of that.
There's quite a lot of that sort of Tony Danza, like, but just kind of through a lens of just new metal bounce. Like, this record's a really, really fun time. The only thing that I will have to point out is when Ice-T pops up on
Sucks to Suck is such a fucking sick title.
Yeah, it is.
Sucks to Suck.
It is just like mugging off like shit bands, I think, essentially. Sucks to Suck. And then Ice-T comes in, and 100% Ice-T has no idea what he did. He has no idea what that guest spot was. Someone pointed a mic in his face and went, talk shit, get shot type stuff. Ice-T, go. He even calls the band Alpha Wolves, plural. Like, it's like he doesn't actually know what the band are called. That was a bit, I can imagine that it's probably a really exciting thing to be like, oh my God, we've got hip hop legend and also frontman of his own hardcore band, Ice-T, going to be on our record. Just do whatever you want, mate. Just fucking go for it. I don't care. But that bit does make me laugh every time when he said, "This is Alpha Wolves, motherfucker." Like, no, that's not what the band are called, mate. You've got it wrong. But other than that, I mean, even that's cool, to be fair. It is still cool the way that he's like, "You motherfuckers are weak, motherfuckers." Yeah. Like, it's just fucking like, it's just aggressive and cool.
Yeah.
It's a fucking wicked record, man.
Ice-T being a fucking drill sergeant. He's sick. He's sick.
Absolutely.
It's hard as fuck.
Absolute drill sergeant. Yeah, man. This is fucking wicked. This is a lot of fun. The band are called Alpha Wolf and the record's called Half Living Things. Comes out on Friday. One last record to chat about before we get out of your faces.
Let's fucking do it.
Let's do it. Necrot.
I
can see your little face. See your little face. Oh, look at him. Is that directly behind you, the artwork from the last Necrot record? So yeah, Necrot are a 3-piece death metal band from Oakland in California. Their new album's called Lifeless Birth, and it comes out on Friday the 12th through Tank Crimes. So yeah, I mean, you're stood in front of a nice framed piece of artwork from that band. You fucking love this band, don't you?
I love this band. I
can't remember the last time I got in your car and we went somewhere and you didn't listen to the last record. I can't remember the last time that happened.
It's since its release in 2020, Mortal has been one of the records that I just listened to the most. I think what Necrot do is just so engrossing and brilliant, and it just keeps you infatuated. It's like, we talked about riffs enough, right? We talked about riffs at the beginning of the show. We're always talking about riffs.
We like riffs, in case you didn't know.
if you didn't realize, we fucking love riffs. And if you like death metal and you like riffs, then Necrot should be your favorite band. Like this album, I've been really, really looking forward to it. So when Mortal came out in 2020, we were like starting to like talk about and sort of listen to a lot more death metal, and this is one of the albums that like I really clung on to, and it's never too far from my ears. It's just what you get is 30 minutes of sick fucking brilliant death metal riffs, and that's exactly what you want when you're turning on an album. That's exactly what you want, and it's what you get with Necrot. And so I absolutely love this band, and I've been really excited. And this thing is an absolute beast, mate. If you are a fan of riffs, then like this thing is fucking fantastic. They conduct death metal, like they conduct with the death metal toolkit far beyond the level that most humans can really achieve. Like there's ripping ass solos all over the place. It's constantly powerful. It's such a full force tornado of riffs and double pedals and beating vocal eruptions. Like it's fucking fantastic. They have absolutely mastered the art of death metal, and I just absolutely love them.
Yeah, dude. The thing is, like, a lot of what we talk about death metal wise is the sort of hardcore kids playing death metal world, but that's not this at all, is it? This is way more like, I don't want to say traditional. I think that's probably gives the wrong idea, but this is so much more like straight up, like classic death metal, Morbid Angel type shit. Like, and I've not got a lot of experience with listening to a lot of stuff like that. Most of the stuff that we come across and that I listen to is hardcore based or weird or wonky and odd. Like this is something else, man. This could, like you were saying, the solos, every solo rips, and they don't just do the woo Kerry King dive bomb shit. Like he's a fucking legit, really technically skilled guitar player, and these solos are fucking incredible.
Yeah. It is. The whole thing's fucking fantastic. I really like how there's even the tracks like Drill the Skull have sort of this real sinister stink face sort of stomping moment. They're sort of a nice sort of change of pace, a little bit more for like somebody that's like maybe like a fan of like a 200 Stab Wounds, that kind of death metal. Like you could definitely get on board with this Necrot album. There's got these sort of moments that's going to pull you over into the fucking like true death, and it's fucking fantastic. It just, you constantly feel like just pumping your fist and like wearing a cut off denim and just smashing loads of beers. It's just so feral, and I really love the production of it. It's got this like, it presents like an unearthed gem with all the sort of authenticity and grit and grime of like an old school release, but it has such a fantastic clarity for all that as well. Like even down to the vocals. Like there's a lot of bands like this and a lot of bands that we listen to where sort of the delivery sort of oversteps really getting across the lyrics. But this is like a death metal band that you can sit down and you can basically understand everything he says, which like, I mean, we'll talk about having your cake and eating it with other bands, and like this is it. You can get all that brilliant riffery, and you can also sort of sing along to it. You can pump your fist. Like it's the fucking bollocks, mate.
Yeah, mate. Like I couldn't agree more with you about the way it's recorded. Like it's got such an organic sound. Like it sounds like it could have been someone could have just rocked up and recorded them playing live. Like it's got so much oomph and energy to it, and like you can almost hear the squish of like the piles of corpses under their feet as they're playing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just got that like as live like stage performance presence about it. It's really it's not clinical, but then it's also not gone too far the other way like a lot of bands do. And actually, like I kind of struggled with Mortal because I thought it was lacking a bit in the production department, and I would have liked it to have a bit more. And that's what I feel like I've got it with Lifeless Birth. Like I feel like this is what I would have if this last record had sounded like this one. I'd be as obsessed with this band as you are. Like this is spot on. Like, and I just love that approach, and it's so relentless. Like they don't relax at any point.
No,
like they never let you go. They're like, they have these songs that are like 5-6 minutes long, and they just riff after riff after riff, and you're like, oh my god, like riffs, like they really drive home. Fucking riffs are the best.
They do.
And here's why. Here's some more, and here's some more riffs, and it's fucking incredible. And there's just little things like I love the way in the song, like in the title track, he says the word decomposing, but he leaves as much room for one syllable of D as he does for 3 syllables of composing. He's like, decomposing. It's so good. Little things like that. And like the way he chants, like cut the chord in the song, cut the chord. Like just these little quirks and little individual signature things that happen throughout this record are just really fun. And I'm not quite to the Sonny Taylor level of Necrot like worship, but I'm definitely a much bigger fan now than I was before I started listening to this record, mate. It's fucking banging.
Yeah, I think if you're not a person that's really ever got into death metal, I think that this is a band that will just absolutely just waterboard you with good fucking reasons to listen to death metal. It's just constant. It's just a constant, brilliant barrage. Like every sort of other track, you're like, well, I've heard the best riff on this album, and then it goes into a new one, and you're like, oh my fucking life! Like, I'll be incredibly surprised if there's a death metal album I like better than this year. This is completely just top of the pile. Tough guy shit, bro. Like I was saying,
tough guy shit, like making pottery,
making pottery, buying butter dishes, listening to Necrot. It's all classic tough guy shit. Check. Going to La Crusette, spending £30 on a butter dish. That's also tough guy shit. Don't let anybody.
Fuck me, man.
Don't let anybody tell you it's not.
You're getting paid too much money. You spending £30 on butter dishes.
I wanted one for ages. There's a La Crusette in Gunwolf now, so it's a bit reduced.
It's been there a while.
Would have been a lot more. It's pretty nice. And this album absolutely fucking rules. I love Necrot. I'm so stoked to have them back. I really hope everybody jams the absolute shit out of it. And they're a 3-piece as well, which is something that we didn't mention. Which
they
is
are,
super
and also
sick.
What's mad is like I think in between records, like multiple members of the band have been through like massive surgeries as well. So like it's really cool that they can kind of bounce back from health issues. I think one of them broke his back, which is that's a pretty big deal. And to be able to like bounce back from something that's gone on like that and just the riffs, he's just healed by riffs. That's what I reckon happened. Like the doctors will probably try and claim it was them. Yeah, exactly. It's the Lazarus pit of riffs. Now the doctors will try and claim it was their medical expertise. I don't think it was. I think it was the power of the riff. The power of the riff would heal all wounds. This is a fucking sick record. And the artwork, have we not even mentioned how fucking great the artwork is?
It's so sick.
It's so fucking sick.
It's so sick, mate. It's fantastic. It's obviously it's based off that similar imagery to what we used on our podcast. Remember, it's the old demon with the bits hanging out. Everyone's sort of just smashing around. He's got a demon coming out of his box. Like,
I like the one that's like literally like poking out. Yeah, that was my favorite one.
Fucking proper like
a 3-inch hand. He's like munching him like Godzilla, but he's just got one sort of poking out of his ears. Their vagina or whatever, or the bum or wherever it's coming from. I don't know, but it's hilarious and brilliant and I love it.
It's fantastic. Devouring, producing
I guess it's
loads of things.
It's giving birth, right? Because it's the Lifeless Birth. That's the name of the record. I'm such an idiot. I'm such a fucking idiot.
It's just sick demon shit, bro. That's more tough guy shit.
That's got to go on the wall next to the other one, I reckon. I mean, you need to invest, mate.
I think I need to. I'll see if there's any sick prints going up.
Keep an eye out.
This album's great. I'll be really, really surprised if there's a better death metal album all year. If there is, we have been eating bloody well.
Yeah, dude. Lifeless Birth by Necrot, out next week. Amazing record.
Sick as fuck. Cool.
Hell yeah.
Fucking great podcast. We're probably going to throw to an interview with Elias from Orecus right now. the Heavyist podcast, weekly worship of the altar of motherfucking radness. You might be listening to us. You might be looking right at us. And if you are looking right at us, you probably realise that there's more than just the regular old two of us. We're joined by a friend of the show, Elias of Orecus. Hello, mate. How are you?
Hey, I'm all good. Getting ready for the album release the day after tomorrow or the day of this podcast. So I'm super stoked to be here. I mean, I've been a fan of the podcast since 2021, I think. And discovered numerous.
That's awesome.
From this podcast.
That's so sick.
Awesome. That's fucking cool to hear.
That's lovely, mate. It's even nicer. Like, it's nice that we have. Do you have like listeners that aren't always like? Obviously, English isn't your first language, but you can still bear to listen to us, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I was thinking about maybe I should like apologize in beforehand on my English and lack thereof, but that's just. Yeah.
No, I think you using the terminology "lack thereof" puts you probably above 45% of the British public. I would say that your grasp on it is, not as slender as you might think, and probably way advanced to some of the people I know and interact with on a daily basis.
Fair enough.
Oh man. So before we get into talking about the record, we should probably just sort of do some lubricating banter. Elias, what's going on in Sweden? What's up to? What's going on over there, mate? What are you up to?
Well, what are we up to? We're getting ready for, as I said before, the album release. Playing a show next week, like to promote the whole album thing. So
awesome.
We've had some turmoil with the band lineups and stuff, as you have. I've learned playing in bands for like 10, 15 years now and such, but we finally come down to the people that we want to have in the band, So that's been like
nice.
2-3 months or so. When rehearsing, I'll be a newer, bigger set for all the new songs and stuff.
Fantastic. So you say, was there any lineup changes from this record, from the last record?
Yeah, we had a pretty major lineup change, actually. We changed the guitarist, who also was a major songwriter for the guitarist, and drummer also since then. So, and then now we're also playing as a 4-piece once again. So that was like... On the last record, we did kind of 50-50, the songwriting, me and the other guitarist. And when he left, I just went to full ham. So, for this album.
Yeah. Was that like, where did you put yourself in the sort of the songwriting? Was that like quite a lot more on you than previous?
Yeah, most definitely. Now I wrote all of the album, the whole album, and all the.
Oh fuck yeah!
Oh nice, respect.
Also, so. I was like, this is the vision I have. I want to do these things. Before, it's a positive thing when you can like spitball with someone and send stuff together with another songwriter and ideas and stuff. But it was very like giving to be able to just do whatever the fuck I wanted, because the rest of the guys, they're like, let's just do it. So we're
nice. That's really good.
Do it exactly how I wanted to.
That's sick. Do you find a bit of extra pressure as a result of that as well? You can't be like, you do this bit because I don't know what is it more stressful.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, especially now when it's being released, because it's 100% on me if people are shitting on it. So that's one part of it, absolutely. So, but kind of how in our work method it worked. It was pretty similar to the old album because we're like an internet band. We're spread out over Sweden and Norway. So we only meet before like shows for very intense rehearsal sessions. So even before the first album, we wrote and recorded and released without ever having seen each other in real life, ever. We did it through Facebook.
That's the Fawn Limb special.
Yeah, exactly. So just through Facebook Messenger, we even did like the music video without meeting each other because it was COVID and stuff. So we had to meet one at a time, recording in front of a green screen and stuff. So we already had that.
Isn't technology amazing, eh?
Yeah. So we already had that kind of.
That's so
amazing.
cool.
Yeah. That was For this album, we had done like our first shows and rehearsed a lot and everything, so we were super tight. But we still have that way of working where we just send files and notes and stuff between each other, and then we do all the recording remotely. Also,
nice.
I recorded the whole album on my shitty old MacBook.
What, this album?
Yes. And the old album,
fucking hell,
was also recorded just on me and the other guitarist laptops. So,
fuck me, that's so good, dude. Like, the production quality on this record is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. The keys having a good producer like Buster or Chris from Cabal, as we have now, just do their magic.
Yeah, man, that's so cool. It's so good that it. Obviously, I knew that it was all done like with you guys, but I didn't realize it was just all solely you that's done it and put it together. Because it sounds fucking fantastic. It sounds absolutely massive. When you were so obviously with there being a shift in the writing duties, sort of landing solely on you for this record, was there anything that you had in mind specifically when you were writing the new record? Was there something you wanted to change? Obviously, Was there anything like that going into album 2 that you wanted to accomplish, or like anything like that?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, the first album, I love it for what it is. It was like a showcase. This is our debut. This is 10 songs. Fuck, let's just go. For this album, I felt like the first one was a little bit calculated, or like many of the songs kind of overstayed their welcome. So this one, I had much more of an approach to, I wouldn't just blind rage, and to cut back on it a bit less is more in terms of song length and structure and stuff. But also the major thing was that I wanted much more dynamic between slow, groovy, chuggy, and even faster bits. The old album didn't have as much groove. It was just all the time. This one is that, but it also slows down to have some groove. In my opinion, at least.
Dude, totally agree. Mate, totally agree. Like, you used the word dynamic and groove, and I think I wrote that about 4 times in my notes of when I was listening to it. And that absolutely is the case. It's very dynamic. You go from these really, like, there seems to be a massive focus on groove in terms of the riffs, and you'll go from those moments into like absolute just like ass beating breakdowns. Like, there's so much groove in a lot of these tracks, man. Like, I've had a really, really good time listening to this, man. There's so many sort of really cool influences from bands that we like Humanity's Last Breath, but then there's definitely like a sort of a dissonant uptake on some of it. Like, there was, what's the track? Fuck Me, that opens with the fucking dissonant as hell riff. It's gone now. I've written it on my. It's Hunter. Sorry, Hunter. Yeah. Hunter comes in with this fucking riff that sounds like straight out of like a Wake album, which I fucking loved.
I'm glad you mentioned Wake.
Yeah, what sort of?
I was listening to them a lot when I was writing this album. Wake, I don't know how to pronounce it. Diarrhea. Yeah,
oh God!
Yeah, don't open that can of worms, Jesus.
Can of worms.
Yeah, those 2 bands anyhow. And I listened to them a lot. I had a very Dreadnought was written in a very intense period of like most of it like 6 months or something. And I was listening a lot to Thought Form, Descent, and Mirage during those months. So
fantastic.
Those things kind of snuck their way in. So together with
it's great inspiration to take.
Yeah. So,
2 bands at the absolute peak of their field.
Yeah, and I mean, I think both of them, or at least Wake, I got from this podcast also. So I mean, kudos to you guys.
Fuck yeah, that's amazing.
You're welcome.
Oh man, that's so cool. Yeah, so yeah, the album definitely feels a lot more dynamic, and that's fantastic. Like, you know, it's amazing that. Do you think that you achieved that because there wasn't as many sort of inputs and you got to do exactly what you wanted to, and there's no one going like, no, we just need to go really fucking hard here. Like, we need to just put another breakdown in here, guys.
No one else to appease, have you? This is it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, kind of, yes, because Francis, the guitarist on the first album, he was more into like the modern deathcore, metalcore kind of riffage. And I mean, we most certainly still have a lot of that. But now I have the possibility to just overflow with that kind of dissonant melody. And like, I also listen a lot to like Ghost Reveries by Opeth or Old Soilwork, those kind of melodic plays. That's
nice.
Like typically my approach.
Fantastic. What about the actual album itself? Obviously, Dreadnought. Is there like a concept there, or is that something that you handled, or is it something you handled collectively? Like when you're writing it, was there a thought of that, or is that something that you sort of leave up to the vocalist afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, since I write the lyrics also, there is kind of not a concept.
Oh fuck me! You write the lyrics also.
Yeah, I write the lyrics and the phrases.
Elias, you're the man.
Is there anything you don't do?
You do the bins as well.
I call myself a much shittier version of Buster. So.
Nah.
To answer your question, yeah, kind of a concept, like not on a progressive metal album in that way, but my lyrics kind of tend to lean in a certain direction. And for Dreadnought, I just got stuck with a description of the word from like the 16th century. It's about a fearless person who dreads nothing. It's also about battleships, like the definition. But
that was the meaning I was aware of, the battleship.
I mean, maybe that leans more towards the sound and the production, but like the theme, it evolves more around that of a fearless person, and that can take a lot of different directions. For me, it's a lot about like kind of freedom of speech stuff I write a lot about, and current events and such. So not like a progressive metal concept, but absolutely, if you look into the lyrics, they are kind of tied together. So.
Very pressing, important lyric-based question, Elias. Were you responsible for the lyric, "You better check yourself before you wreck yourself"? Was that you?
I was not. That was Joey in "Man Must Die." He's the only guest vocalist who wrote his own lyrics. So.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think
he went hard.
I think it's the coolest application of "check yourself before you wreck yourself" on record. I think it's the coolest application of it ever.
Yeah, I mean, if you do it with enough attitude, it works. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You can sell anything if you believe in it hard enough. Yeah, for sure.
So, when you're like writing it, producing it yourself, this is an album that sounds absolutely massive, right? There's so many sort of layers. There's always like a bed. There's always like a sort of an atmosphere. This sort of like brilliant sort of, for lack of a better word, sense of dread about the record. That sort of mirrors a lot of the brilliant sort of dark records that we like. When that's you doing it yourself and you're not like handing it over to somebody else to finish it off in terms of like the production, like how easy is it to sort of get wrapped up in like adding another layer of like something crazy there, or like, how did you sort of find that middle ground, and how did you know when to stop?
When it's done? That's always a question I want to know.
I'm kind of a keep it simple, stupid person. I have that approach to a lot.
Nice.
So same thing when I write songs. I'm like, sit down and I write the song and I work it over 1-2 times and then it's done. I don't fuck with it anymore. And for this album, actually, compared to the first album, Chris did a lot of post-production for us also. So a lot of the, I do all the lead guitar work, and that pans out to be a bit more melodic and atmospherical. But all the synthesizers and keys and stuff, that is Chris' work, actually. I explicitly asked him to help us with this because I don't know how to do stuff like that. So a lot of the super subtle stuff, when you listen to it, far back in the mix, but still that it builds atmosphere. That's a lot of, or my lead work tied together with his add-ons. So, but
nice. Well, you could be forgiven.
Yeah,
you can be forgiven considering you do absolutely everything else.
Yeah, plus I want to do the stuff I know how to do, and then like that gives the most to the band, and then I can just let someone else do the final polishing, so to say.
Ah, fantastic. Mate, there's so many cool influences coming through on this record. There's even like there's more of like a hardcore infusion in some of the tracks, which is a bit more notable than the last time. Like Gear, like that track, that's definitely got some like that's really, really awesome. What sort of like hardcore records have you been listening to that sort of made that bleed in?
I mean, I kind of come from. I don't listen to a lot of hardcore myself, but I listen to a lot of grindcore. So that's kind of where that approach come from. Yeah, and perhaps some of the like faster, blasty stuff also. But I like some of my favorite bands. I listen a lot to like early Wake or super like death grindy. I like the Misery Rites album, kind of. And also Swedish band Nasum is one of my absolute favorites.
Nasum, yeah.
I got a lot of
cool.
like not specifically the influence for riffs, but just the feel of the music, perhaps, or like what I'm going for as a vibe. That can come a lot from the grindcore when I just want to go for the chaotic, ragey stuff.
Nice. Thank you for not pointing out that I'm a fucking idiot, because I wrote down the wrong name of the track. I said Gear. It's actually called Harm. And I think
what was that? Was like, okay,
I think the track that I was mentioning is definitely Harm, but I definitely mistyped, and I mistyped hear some hardcore influences for Gear some hardcore influences. So yeah, I'm just
what? Did I miss a track?
You got a secret track
or something? Special track just for Sonny that I never got to hear.
That's actually one of my personal favorites of the album because it sticks out so much.
It's absolute banger.
Banger. That was written as like when I go to a show and watch like a hardcore or grindcore band with the D-beat drums, kind of Motorheady drums. I want to go for. So that's one of my absolute favorites, and especially since I've been listening to Man Must Die and I was super young, so they were one of my main influences overall when I write death metal stuff.
Hell yeah!
That's fucking cool.
Another like favorite part of the album for me is like the absolute blackened frenzy that comes out at the beginning of Warning Shot. Like that is such a massive section, man. And then it goes in from that incredible like just energy. It goes into this massive like huge chuggy section, and I think that track alone, just like looking at the sort of that like just explains how fucking dynamic and intense the record is. Like it's fantastic.
Yeah,
what were you? I was going to say what were you listening to, but you said Guerra was going on. So
yeah. I also been listening a lot to they're from Australia, Dead Space. There's a band called also that I listen a lot to. But that song we actually
Dead
call
Space,
the palate cleanser of the album. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's a fucking fantastic record.
Yeah, because
man.
It comes, if I remember correctly, it comes after Fuming, that is like a super slow song.
Yes. Yeah. What about like, so even down to like the artwork direction, there's like a kind of a consistency in the artwork, like from the previous album to this album. Was that something that was like a conscious decision, or did it just sort of end up happening?
Yeah, I would say pretty conscious because we use the same artist as on the first album, Jordan Haley, who also does all the Doth stuff, or Doth, or however you pronounce it. But also we wanted to carry on the theme as it does lyrically. So we wanted to continue in that style and also have like a nod to the album. We have the same, like, if you look at the art cover, we have the same, like, wolf emblem. That's actually kind of my dog also, who's here somewhere. But we use that on the
nice.
new one also, just to tie it together, like,
That's fucking awesome. Get the dog in there, immortalize him. That's fantastic.
Gotta be done.
Yeah. I've been really enjoying listening to the record, man. I think it's so it's got a lot of similarities to things that we adore, like Humanity's Last Breath, but I think that this big massive groovy inclusion that's here is buckets beyond like what generally you would expect from a band like you guys. Like you just know how to write something that fucking gets people going, man. Like the opening of Pacifist, that is just absolutely massive. Like this album is like made me really happy, and it's always like, one of those things where you sort of like you get to know people on the internet, and like you've like they'll be like, "Oh mate, would you talk about my band?" And you'll be like, "Okay, yeah, I'll listen to it." And you go like, "Oh, fuck, I really hope it's not shit, because I'm gonna have to like be really nice or lie or something." Fuck me, Elias, this record is just of such a caliber that's like right up there, toe to toe with like anything that I've listened to that's in this space for a while. It's something you should be really fucking proud of, man, and even more so proud because you did so much of the record.
I mean, it means a lot coming from you guys, who I respect a lot. Like, I listen a lot to the pod, and I take your recommendations very seriously on bands. So
awesome. That makes us really happy, bro. That really makes us really happy.
Thank you.
It's very cool that we have such awesome listeners.
It's just a big old loving. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, man. So obviously you guys, the record's coming out Friday, and you said you're playing a show really soon. Who's that with, and where's that at?
It's it's in Uppsala in Sweden, so we're still Sweden bound as of yet, working on that part. We're playing with a couple of local death metal thrash bands, so it would be a good opportunity to play. We have played new songs once before, actually, so we're playing all the singles live, and we're working on making the set even bigger, but also chucking out some new merch and stuff, which we're also very happy with.
Wicked, man.
Fantastic.
Are you rocking some right
cool.
now? I noticed you're wearing a Euroband shirt, which I respect as a power move. Absolutely badass. Legendary.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, dude.
So after that sort of show, what do the next 6 months look like for Orecus? What else are you working on, or what do you hope to get up to?
Well, for me, it's I don't want to lose an opportunity to get into writing mode, because like when you do an album and you do the whole promotion cycle and everything, it's easy that you're awesome, now I can like not write and not make any music, and then holy shit, it's been 3 years. So usually when I've done stuff like this with other bands also, I usually go back pretty quickly into writing mode, not like as focused as you do in before an album, or when you set a deadline for an album. But I also head back and start working ideas immediately, just to have something to work with further on when we decide we want to head into the studio again. So that it will be during the summer, but also booking and taking all the shows we can. Like we want to play this shit live as much as we humanly possibly can.
Fuck yeah. Man, that's awesome.
I need to try and borrow some of your work ethic, mate. Fucking hell. I'd be kicking back my feet up for 5 years if I was you. I'd be like that, right? That's my masterpiece. I'm done. See you later.
Oh man. In terms of like what you would like to like approach next, in your head, is it like, did you have a great experience with this? I mean, you should have had a great experience with this, because it sounds fucking fantastic, and obviously you had a lot to do with it, so you should be very happy with yourself. When you're thinking about like approaching like writing music again, is it like, let's definitely do another album? Is there like do you think maybe, take a little holiday, do a little EP, like
straight up black metal record, maybe?
what's your mindset, when it comes to
I mean, I think EPs probably makes more sense to do nowadays, especially in between album cycles, but I just love albums, and I want to do albums. So it's not like the rational thing
cool
to do,
hear.
But that's why
that's cool to hear.
Now also, we did a standalone single release in between of Hunter the other year, But other than that, I mean, I like the album concept. I want 10 songs. I don't want 4 songs and then want to wait 2 more years to get 6 more or something. So I kind of have that approach, which kind of maybe doesn't make sense in like a promotional aspect, but just as an artist, that's what I like to do.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Respect.
That's fucking
artistic
awesome.
integrity, mate. That's what you got. Don't succumb to the trudge of the algorithm. You got to stay true to yourself.
Exactly.
As I'm the same.
Exactly.
I'm the same. I'm an album guy. Like,
yeah,
it's got to be. You want the story told over that longer cycle of time, and there is somewhat of a dying breed if it's just EPs and stray singles here and there these days. I'm sounding like an old man now. I need to chill out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I like albums and I like physical copies. I love listening to CDs in my car and stuff like that. So I always buy it if I have a chance to show myself.
That's nice. Cool. I don't go that far, but only because I don't have space to keep them all anymore. Throw your CD wallets away.
I completely forgot to ask. I know we're sort of like talking about the other stuff now, but because the album, you're doing it yourself. You're putting it out there yourself. You're not got like backed by a label or anything, but you still managed to get like some amazing features on the record. Usually, that amount of like really awesome features is something you see when a band signs to like Metal Blade, and then they or like something like that, and then they get the ability to be able to sort of connect with all these people very, very easily. So, how did you find getting all the features together? Was that awesome?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't always had the same approach. Even when I played I was a drummer in my previous bands and stuff like that, and I always had the approach of I like working with features both because it's fun to work with different musicians on your music, but also it's so inspiring to work, especially with like childhood heroes like Björn Strid from Soilwork and stuff like that. And it adds something to the music as a whole, especially when you do albums and you have 10 songs and you want to add a bit extra spice or dynamic to a song here and there. So I think people underestimate just how approachable most artists are. I mean, I wouldn't get a hold of Sam Carter from Architects, perhaps, but to write a message to Kevin in I Am Dissonance and send a link and say, like, I've been listening to your band most of my adult life. You're a huge inspiration. This is my band. Do you want to do this? And he says, yes. It doesn't have to be harder than that. And that's usually the case.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
With both the features on this album and on the previous one also. Just
that's
send
awesome.
email.
Yeah,
just fucking try it. What's the worst that can happen? They say no.
Yeah.
You're no worse off than you were before you asked.
Yeah.
I sort of found that the same way, like when we first started doing the podcast, and like we didn't like now we get like sent albums. You get on the list of like the PR people, and then it'll like automatically come to you and stuff. But like originally I was like, am I just I'm like messaging like this fucking really cool band, like just hoping they'll like potentially send me their album. And like, back when you don't have any followers and like you just look like a lunatic, I was really surprised how sort of easy and like sort of lovely everybody was. That I can believe that it's sometimes it's just as easy as sending an Instagram message, and then you start talking to people.
Exactly, and I mean, most of the times I think people just want to be a part of something new and fun and do something cool. Try to like feature on a band that isn't your own, or be on the next thing, kind of like that. So that's been my approach always. Just send all of the emails and see what happens. And especially from the bands like I grew up listening to and who's inspired me the most throughout the years. So.
Oh, fantastic. Elias, what else? What you got? Any records that are like upcoming that you're looking forward to this year? Is there anything that you've been specifically listening to lately that's very badass that we might not know about?
I bet you guys know all of it.
Maybe I shouldn't frame it that way. What have you been listening to? And I should have just said that.
Yeah, what's been spinning the most this year thus far? Absolutely top one, no question about it, is the Vitriol album. Undeniably.
Oh, it's madness, isn't it? It's brutal.
Yeah. I mean, the first album absolutely hooked me, and this new one was like the first one, but with better production and a bit like more dynamic approach to everything, but still fucking relentless. So I've been listening to that one a lot, and also actually the new Aborted. I've never listened to Aborted before, like regularly, but this new album is super sick. And I also saw them live a few weeks ago, and they fucking destroyed. So that's
nice.
Been,
do you know what? Yeah. I'm very guilty on that as well. Of being
say the same.
I'm not well versed in Aborted, and I feel that I absolutely should be. I feel like we should even be admitting this, Gary. But you got to be honest. Sometimes you can't just always be cool. Okay.
You have to
sometimes
give back our cool cards, son.
So yeah, I need to make some time for that.
Yeah. I did listen to a bit of that new record.
Yeah. I think that album is like 10 songs, 10 features, or something like that. It's crazy, but it's super sick. And I've also been listening to like something non-death metal. I've been listening a lot to Night Versus new album also, like kind of Animals as leaders,
nice.
but not as shredded. Yeah, it's super sick, but it's super gentle also, much more than the previous album. So that one has been.
Ooh, a bit of gent.
Cool. I didn't listen to the whole record yet, but I definitely absolutely loved the song with Brandon Boyd.
That was such a treat.
It was so cool.
Yeah, it's super good. And
that was really cool.
Albums I'm looking forward to. I'm a super fan of Hacktivist. So their new single they released the other day was
nice. Yeah.
I don't listen
to
a
return,
lot
the big
that
return.
kind of that kind of music, but Hacktivist. That's just like my top one favorite in the gent genre, kind of.
Fuck yeah.
Also the Dune album.
Are you into Hacktivist, Gary? Oh, June album. Yeah, sorry, you just said June. Yes, I might have listened to that today, and I might have been smiling the entire time. It's going to be fucking very cool.
Yeah, awesome. I really enjoyed their last album. It was super sick, and the first two singles. Were super good so far, so I'm stoked.
They're a band that are playing music that is just absolutely fucking massive, and I feel like they just I don't feel that they have the correct exposure for some reason. I feel like they're not as big as they should be. I don't know if it was like a COVID thing or something, but I mean, to be fair, they have played quite decent slots on like festivals that I've been to, but I just feel that like what they do is so fucking massive and so fucking beautiful that like I feel like I should be seeing June shirts like every time I walk to the co-op, you know. But like, I mean, that's probably a weird way, but that band.
I agree. Yeah, the last album is super sick, so I'm looking forward to doing it. So I think that one and Hacktivist. I mean, Benighted is releasing a new album, and those singles have been pretty sick also.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I've listened to those singles. They're fucking badass.
Yeah.
Lots of
lovely
riffs. The riffs that are most important, though, are the new Orecus riffs that you need to be checking out. That album comes out Friday.
That is it.
You should all be listening to it because it's fucking banging. Absolutely banging.
Yeah. It's called Dreadnought. Go and fucking listen to it. Thank you so much, Elias. This has been really fun. You're awesome.
Cheers, dude.
Your band is fantastic. We're really stoked.
Good talk.
Appreciate it, brother.
And keep sharing the memes. The Discord needs them.
He does, yes. Elias is a hardcore meme guy. He's killing the meme game. Metal memes, he's fucking nailing it.
Awesome. Thanks, dude.
Peace.